Hey, ladies. Welcome to Black Women Making Money. We are the home of the upwardly mobile Black woman. And yes, I am on screen today. It is your girl Cherie live in living color here on this Freedom Friday. I had a very challenging last week until Tuesday, so I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to talk about what happened after that. And there was, from all of that, am going to talk about the fact that what you go through, you will eventually grow through. And I'm going to talk about getting advice from a low performer versus a high performer, top performer, and what happened with me and how it will ultimately happen to you as well when you start connecting with higher performers. So, with that, ladies, please give us a thumbs up, like the video, say hello to me in the chat. You all are starting to come in. Welcome to Freedom Friday, ladies. If you are listening to the replay, please put replay in the chat, or better yet, tell me the worst piece of advice a low performer ever gave you for your career. So, ladies, um, I'm going to tell you a bit of my story, but I still want to kind of protect the innocent as well. So, I'm not going to say everything with regards to what happened. However, I'm going to give you some of the highlights and one of the big lessons that came through for me. And then, if you all want me to ultimately open up the phone lines, I will do that as well. So, first of all, we got a guy in the building. Hello, Coach K. Hello. I think you're going to enjoy what I have to say tonight. And my comments are probably going to be 20 minutes. And then afterwards, if you all want to come on, great. If not, I will wrap it up. So, the first thing that I want to talk to you about is what you go through, you will ultimately grow through. So, I was working on a loan. Most of you know I'm a mortgage loan officer. I have transitioned this year because I was tired of writing business plans. So I'm a mortgage loan officer, got my license, started networking and all of that stuff, right? I meet a woman at a networking event. She's excited to work with me. I'm excited to work with her. We do her loan, and let's just say a lot of things went wrong. And not all of them were my fault. In fact, probably only one thing was my fault. The rest were like other people, growing pains, et cetera, et cetera. But to say that she didn't have a pleasant experience is true, right? And it wasn't just me, it was her realtor. It was like death by a thousand cuts. It was her realtor. It was the seller. There were a couple of things that happened on our end, et cetera, et cetera. Which I have rectified our stuff on our end. I was like, oh, hell no, never again, right? But with that, whenever you are leveling up, whenever you are going through something, like the biggest thing was me being disappointed and saying, what are the things that I am able to do? And after we closed the loan on Tuesday, because the loan did close, I kind of sat down, I decompressed, and I thought, um, well, what can I learn from this? What can I do right now? And I decided to reach out to a woman who, and this goes to my low producer versus high producer conversation. I decided to reach out to a woman who is very successful in this industry. I've known her for years. My mother was like, why don't you reach out to this person over here? So we're going to call this person Mrs. X, right? And hello, Christina. Good to see you. So I reach out to Mrs. X, and Mrs. X has been in the business for about 25 years. Mrs. X is probably in the top 5% as a mortgage loan officer. And she only does her own production. She does not, uh, like, in this business, there are some people who actually manage a bunch of loan officers. She doesn't. She just likes herself and her little team, right? But she closes a lot. She closes 100 deals plus a year. So, and in this industry, that's a lot. She's top 5%. And you're saying, okay, Cherie, well, what's the point? What's the point with taking advice from top performers versus listening to low performers? So, during my 50-minute conversation, this woman gave me 50 minutes of her time. She told me all sorts of stuff that I should do. She was like, you need to know this and you need to do this, et cetera, et cetera. The things that I had been yearning for people to tell me, but I just got, oh, just do this over here and you'll be fine. And I'm like, no, I need a little bit more, right? And then this is the top performer in her telling me, and if you really want to do this business right, you need to read the mortgage guidelines. And just overall, understand that the mortgage guidelines are about 3,000 pages. It's like somebody telling you to read the IRS tax code, right? About 2 to 3,000 pages. So she spends 50 minutes with me. She's telling me, if you want to be at the top of your game, this is what you want to do. So that way, when you get different scenarios that come in, you'll at least know that there is a guideline for it. And then you're able to search. But if you don't know that there's a guideline or a way to handle that scenario, then you're not going to be as effective. That's ultimately what she was leading to. And I then took that advice and went to a lower performer. The Mr. X, the lower performer, Mr. Lower Performer, closes about 30 deals a year, right? So Mrs. X closes 100, Mr. X closes 30, right? Mr. Low Performer. So I go to Mr. Low Performer with the thing that Mrs. X, the high performer, said. She said that I should familiarize myself with these guidelines that, 2 to 3,000 pages. And you know what he said to me? That's crazy. Why would you want to read all of that? You don't have to do that. All you have to do is dot, dot, dot. And I'm listening to him on the phone. I'm listening. I'm like, oh, okay, okay. And I hang up the phone, and I'm going to get to the point of my story now. I hang up the phone, I sit back in my chair, and I said, well, I had two very different phone calls. I had a phone call from the top performer who said, do this. And I had the phone call with the lower performer who said, you don't have to do all of that. Who am I going to listen to? And it came to, well, Cherie, how serious are you about getting to the top 10%? And I'm going to swing this around to all of you ladies who are listening to me. And hey, Jay Antoinette, good to see you. I'm going to swing this around to all of you who are listening to me right now. I want you to listen to me closely. When you start engaging with people, when you start asking people to mentor you, when you start, like real top performers, when you start asking them to help you, they are going to suggest things that low performers are going to say, that's crazy. Why are you doing that? Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to take it so much of your time to do that? Why? Why? No, that's crazy. I'm here to say to all of you, because at some point it's going to happen. I'm here to say to all of you, if you listen to the low performers, you will continue to be a low performer. We have talked on this channel about getting to the top 20%, about being upwardly mobile, right? And some of you, actually, I'm going to read an email that I got from one of you in my response, and we're going to talk about it. But some of you have said, okay, Cherie, I've started engaging with a mentor. I've started engaging with a professor. Now what? And I'm here to say, take good notes. Take good notes. They're going to suggest things to you that may sound like a lot. It may take a lot of time. It may take a lot of energy, et cetera, et cetera. But if you have a mentor who is willing to give you an hour of their time and pour into you and tell you, if you want to be like me, you need to do A, B, C, X, Y, Z. And then you go to a low performer and say, my mentor said I should do A, B, C, X, Y, Z. What do you think? And you allow that low performer to persuade you to not follow the top performer's advice. All I can say is shame on you, and you'll probably never get invited to the table again, not at the same level. Not at the same level. Not my gumdrop buttons is saying I've noticed that too. Yeah, yeah. So I'm going to read an email that I got. I'm going to keep the person's name out of this for privacy reasons, but I'm going to um, read her email with regards to this and read my response, talk a little bit about this. Put a one in the chat if you want to come up and have this conversation. If not, I'm going to just kind of go through this about working with mentors, working with top performers, and really engaging with them, and then I'm gonna head out. But if you all wanna come up, if anybody wants to come up, ask a question, make a comment, now is the time to do it. So, the person said to me, "Good morning, Cherie. I'm a member of your email list. I had the pleasure of attending one of your most recent networking events where I shared my experience about a connection I made through one of my professors. I'm reaching out to you today to ask for guidance and advice. I am set to meet the contact again via Zoom this coming Friday. I would greatly appreciate your insights on how I can make the most of this meeting." And then she asked for my schedule, and I was too busy. I really was like not in a headspace, but I gave her some advice, right? I gave her some advice, and this is the advice that I gave her. If you're meeting with mentors, you're meeting with top performers, they're giving you advice about how to get to the top 10%. This is what you want to do. So I said to her, "Thank you for your email. I'm super busy this week. The question is, what do you want from that meeting? What do you want from that meeting?" So when I spoke to my top performer, Mrs. X, when I spoke to Mrs. X, she asked me, "What do you want?" That was one of the first questions she asked me. I said to Mrs. X, I said, "Mrs. X, I'm actually really good at sales. I understand that most loan officers are not good at sales. I have applications. That's not my problem. My problem is on the back end. How do I work with people in order to set things up to be super successful and a great experience for the borrower?" And she spent the 50 minutes coaching me on what I wanted. But if you don't know, when you're speaking to that mentor, if you don't know what you want from that meeting, you're not going to get it. So, number one is being super clear about what you want. And yes, everybody, please like the video, Blossoming Bloom. Thank you so much for saying that. Brian's tax just, you're about to be super busy. Um, hey, ladies, love your content. Yeah, tax season is coming up. You're about to be super busy. But thanks so much, Brian's tax. Yes, everybody, please like the video. If you want to come up again, put a one in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to finish with my comments and then we're going to head out for Freedom Friday. But number one thing is the question is, what do you want from the meeting? So you gotta be crystal clear on that. What advice are you looking for? What connections are you looking for? What information are you looking for, etc.? Be super clear about that. Then I said, continuing on with my response, what is the optimal outcome you are looking for? That's what I asked her with regard to this meeting. You want to think about that as well. What advice do you need from her? Who can she introduce you to that would make you more successful? Remember, I'm always encouraging you to think about your technical skills, soft skills, and networks you need to be successful. Ask her these types of questions and glean what you need to be successful in your chosen profession. Because the person didn't tell me what industry she was in or anything like that. So here's the thing: technical skills, soft skills, networks, and then collecting resources. I'm always telling you, ladies, this, right? Technical skills has nothing to do with technology. It could have something to do with technology if you are in tech. However, it doesn't necessarily have to do with technology. The technical skill that I need within my profession is something called how to structure a loan. That has nothing to do with technology. That has to do with how to assemble the paperwork and the guidelines in such a way that the underwriter easily says yes. Coach K is here, Business Talk with K. He helps people get government contracts. The technical skills that he has formulated over the years is how does he put the government proposal together in such a way that that proposal is accepted? That has nothing to do with technology. All of us have technical skills that we need to be at the top 10% in our business. For me to get to the top 10% with technical skills in my business, I need to read 3,000 pages of government guidelines with regards to loans. The low performer said, ha, ha, you don't need to do that. A lower performer. He's not a low, he's a lower performer. But the top performer told me, if you want to be at the top, you need to be able to do this. You need to set aside the time and, get off YouTube and whatever. She didn't tell me that, but that's what it is. So everybody like the video again. And if you all want to come up, ask questions, put your comments in to the conversation, put a one in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to finish this up. So your technical skills, your soft skills, sometimes it's not a technical skill that you're missing. Sometimes it's the soft skills that you're missing, or it's a soft skill that you're missing. I always tell you about salary negotiation. If you have top 10% technical skills as everybody else, and everybody else is making 140 and you're making 110, you don't have a technical skill problem. You have most likely a salary negotiation problem. That is a soft skill problem. So you want to figure out what soft skills are needed in your profession, which ones you really need to get good at. What networks do you need to be in? We had a whole session on Zoom about this. If you missed it, you missed it. Sorry. I might write a book one day, right? But you need to know certain people in your industry so that if anything happens, you can pick up the phone, you can, make things happen, etc. The reason I was able to contact that top producer was because of something I did 15 years ago. And when I contacted her, I emailed her and said, let me know your schedule. Anytime I need to have a conversation, she picked up the phone immediately and called me and said something I did for her 15 years ago helped her so much that she was grateful and happy, more than happy to help me. That is the power of a strong network, ladies. I didn't realize I had made that much of a difference in her life, but I had. So when I needed help at 7:30 at night, she spent close to an hour on the phone with me because I had already cultivated that network. So build your network and build it before you need it. You're going to ask your mentors, hey, what associations do you belong to? What events do you go to? Who are you following on Twitter, for example? I know it's not Twitter anymore, but it's always Twitter, right? What networks do you need to have? What soft skills do you need to have? What technical skills do you need to have? Um, then I said to the young lady, your professor most likely wants to mentor you and see you become a success story. Engage her from that point of view. Ask her what she wants. Is she seeking an intern? Does she have any professional associates who need an intern? Make it a win-win. Finally, this is very important, ladies. Finally, when she gives you the next steps to success, do what she says. If she is a top producer, only do what top producers say, right? And only do what top producers say who are still currently like doing whatever it is you're trying to do. You know, I don't listen to anybody who did it in 1971 come in to tell me how to do it today, right? But I said, when she gives you the next steps to success, do what she says to do. If she suggests a book to read, then read it and send her an email with the key points you learned from the book. If she suggests you go to a networking event, then go and let her see that you met some people there. And then I said, good luck. The final thing I will say is, and then I'll read the rest of your comments. And everybody, thumbs up the video, please. Thumbs up the video, share the video, put a 1 in the chat if you all want to come up and chat. Otherwise, honestly, this is the last thing I'm going to say. I'm going to read your comments and we're going to head out. The mistake I made was asking after I spoke to the top producer, and the top producer said, read the 2 to 3,000 pages of guidelines and familiarize yourself with them overall. The mistake I made was going and asking the lower producer what they thought. That was on me. I should have known better. I should have known better. The lower producer also tried to give me some other advice that I'm not going to listen to. I'm like, no, no, there's a way how to do this, Mr. Lower Producer. You just don't know how. You can't help me with that. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. So, Pink Orchids in the building. And if your mentor just states communication, keep asking until you get to a technical skill. That is correct. Dig deeper. What do they mean by that? Ask them to give you some examples, some scenarios. What's the worst what was the worst mix up in communication that they've seen? Engage them with that. Samry Bliss is in the building. Hello. Centria is here. They use you have to be mentally ready to receive such good information. Yeah, you have to be mentally ready to receive. You have to be mentally ready to receive this type of information. And usually, if a top producer is talking to you saying these are the things that you need to do, 99% of the time, they will be hard things to do. So you have to decide before, during, and after that conversation, if you're really willing to do what it takes. It's like losing weight, right? If you want to lose 30 pounds and you're not trying to go under the knife to do it, if you're going to lose it naturally, what is the top producer going to say? What is the top performer going to say? They're going to say what? Let go of the sweets, let go of the potato chips, go to the gym 60 minutes a day, 6 days a week, all the things that are tough to do. The low performer is going to say what? You don't have to do that. Question is, who do you want to be ultimately? Samry saying, I interviewed with a Black woman manager and she gave me a tear bump during the interview. Good for you, Samry. Good for you. I went to a networking event on Wednesday and it was for women in tech. I was the only Black woman in the room and I was able to start a conversation with several women. I love it. I love it. I actually really love tech events. And as soon as I get certain things together in my life and business, I'm going to start going to tech events again because they're fun. I love hearing about new technology that's happening. And because I want to work with a lot of investors, I'm going to tech events because these are people that usually have disposable income. They're looking for other ways to invest their money. And I'll be the only mortgage loan officer in there saying, hey, let's talk about getting you some investment property. Let's talk about getting you into your own property as well. So the tough thing that my mortgage mentor told me to do was she was like, "Cherie, you're a natural at knowing about self-employed people, reading taxes, reading profit and loss statements. Most people don't know how to do those things. Lean into that." That's what she told me. That was one of the things she told me. The low performer said, "You don't have to do that." But guess what? There are a lot of people there are a lot of people who are either currently a 1099 or a business owner, or they will be in the future. And if I can tap into that market and really make it happen, sky's the limit. Sky's the limit. So Jessica is here saying congratulations to Samry. Yes, yes. So, all right, nobody put a one in the chat. That means y'all don't want to talk tonight. That is perfectly okay. I hope I said something tonight that has inspired you. Like the video on your way out, and I will see you all. I might come on tomorrow for Small Business Saturday. We'll see. All right, take care, ladies. Night.